In ancient China, they said that all difficult diseases originate from the heart, and I want to talk about this today. Um, when you think about the disease culminating in the body, it is actually a pathway to show disharmony, like something in the normal processes of the body doesn't work right, and there is a reason why there's something in this pathway is misaligned and doesn't work right, and that shows and manifests itself as a disease. On a superficial level, there's just some discomfort, but of course, when it gets deeper to deeper and deeper layers, it becomes very difficult disease or incurable disease or deadly disease. So in ancient China, they had this saying that all diseases, specifically talking about all these difficult diseases that people tend to perish from, originate from the heart. And I want to discuss it in the Huaishuan school. For about 300 years. They researched and developed this concept of all diseases originate from the heart, how to understand it, how to treat it. And so I just want to introduce it here briefly. Why all difficult diseases start from the heart and what does it mean? Now, of course, this topic is very, very big, and I'm just introducing it here on an elementary level. So when the human being is created in the womb, the first mechanism that develops to give it meaning is the heart mechanism. And the heart mechanism has two folds, two different things that it needs to do. On the one hand, it needs to express humanity of the person, kindness, generosity, what we call goodness. It needs to bring the human being into the world and have the human being participate in the creation of the world, which means we come out, we help to facilitate the growth of the plants, the well-being of our family, the betterment of society. A human being has this role in the world, and the heart on the one side of it has this ability to do it, to express goodness out of the heart. On the other hand, what the heart needs to do is also to sustain the human being himself or herself to last longer, to last 100 years. And so the other side of the heart is to be able to request for itself sustenance, like wanting to breathe, to drink, to eat. The heart needs to have that other side to it that allows it to survive, right? The wants and the needs. And that starts from the first minute that the human being comes to the world, needs some breast milk, needs the warmth of the mother. So these two sides of the heart are its main components. The side of requesting or needing for the self can work, and at the beginning does work, in a very pure form. It needs the most essentials for survival. The warmth of the mother, the milk, the air that I need to breathe, all the basic things that I need. And in this form, the inner part of the heart, the other part of the heart that exerts goodness, has unobstructed access. In other words, it can radiate this goodness in an unobstructed way. And when the human being grows, this unobstructed way of emanating energy from the heart saturates the entire body. It's a pathway that comes out in my thoughts, in my words, in my feelings. Everything and everyone around me that I see and interact with experience the goodness of the heart that comes out of me, out of my center, we call it. Because of various reasons, the others, the external side of the heart that want things for me, start to accumulate experiences. Experiences that at times could be really good, but at other times could be very difficult. For example, there's not enough air, there's not enough warmth, there's not enough food. So the heart start to work different ways, different angles, how we can start to get more sustenance in times of shortage. These kind of experiences in Huaishan we call impressions. They are impressions, and by analogy, there's an analogy that I like to use. We call it like the the filters or the glasses. Imagine you wear like some sort of sunglasses that have different shade to it. It accumulates layers or films, like thin films of experiences, as the heart, the external heart, starts struggling for our sustenance. Now these layers accumulates in the thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, every day, every week, every month, all the time. And it means actually from a practical point of view that whenever the person feels any uncomfortable feeling of shortage, it starts to develop a movement of the heart that we experience as unpleasant. So for example, I start to feel angry, I start to feel irritated, annoyed, intolerant, impatient, all these feelings that comes as a reaction to what my heart interpret as shortage are these layers that the heart accumulates on the outside. And then if you fast forward 40, 50 years, it becomes like the lenses that I can see the world through. And of course, each person accumulates different amount of layers. If it's 1 million or 100 million layers, all these layers, um, skew my view of the reality. It's not like the infant that just came out of the womb that can see the world like very purely, needs the most basic elements to sustenance so it can radiate goodness out of the heart. Instead, there start to be many, 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 many layers in the millions. But when I look in the world, it looks in a different color, in a different shade. Just for an example, let's say in a green color or purple color or whatever color you want. The more layers to the glasses or to my ability to view the world, the darker the shade is. The differently I can see the reality. The reality is not pure existence and creation, but rather it start to be different. Now, if you remember, I just mentioned before, when we get sick, disease means there's a problem in the pathway, in the processes. So the problem in the processes could be very superficial. Let's say I eat a lot of sugar and my body physically can't handle so much sugar and it start to not work right. This is a more superficial level. Or something physical happened to the body's processes that then obscure the way it should work, and that looks like it is a disease. These type diseases, of course, normally are curable, easier to treat, could have difficult symptoms, but it looks like people don't tend to, perish from them. But these issues of the heart, of the ability to view the world in a pure way or impure way, in an obscured way or in a truthful way, are very deep pathway, and this is the reason, at least in my opinion, coming from the Huaishan point of view, that you can have very, difficult, deadly diseases that you pour billions and trillions of dollars into research and hundreds of thousands of researchers, and then of course I have full respect to everyone who research disease and try to solve it, but they seem to not be able to get to the root of the problem. Everybody knows what the disease is like, if it's any certain cells or certain pathways, but why is it coming to me? Why is it started with me? What's the root cause? What causes it? It seems like, the etiology or the cause of the disease is forever unknown. And so from Huaishan point of view, and again, this is just an opinion, my experience is like this, and I just want to share this opinion here, that these pathways of the heart, the many, many millions of layers that accumulate through our lifetime and prevents us from seeing the world in a very truthful way. It becomes, we see the world the way it is, except that there's like tint to it. There's a shade. We see it in a different color. And on purpose, I'm standing here at the beach in sunrise, so you can see as the colors start to change, as the sun comes out, the world starts to catch different colors. But this type of cause that obscure the natural pathways of the heart energy to come out, to bring goodness out, we also call it heaven's energy. These layers, these films, that doesn't make the rays of our heart light to come out really unobstructed. This is what causes, you know, the deeper layer of diseases. Now, when we do work on ourselves from the outside, like when I meditate, when I practice, when I take some herbal treatment or take some medicine from the outside, it does help diseases, but we say it helps it one layer at a time. And if we have million layers that we have to get rid of, the one layer a day that we remove oftentimes don't get any significant result. It's good that we do it, but it's not enough. And so in the Huaishuan for the last 300 years, the research was into understanding this many layers, the problem that it creates, and what are the shortcuts to go in and remove 100,000 layers at the time, where you have millions and millions of layers that you need to remove. Again, I'm just repeating, removing it from the outside with simple actions or simple treatment from the outside, one layer at a time. It's good, but it's simply not enough compared to the depth of the root of the problem. And this is, what I wanted to share with you. The Huaishan, all the research in the last 300 years is how to understand the deeper layers of the problem and how to have shortcuts that can help us remove many layers at the time. And in such instance, if you can find these ways how to remove extremely large numbers of films that cover the lenses over the many years that you lived so far, this is something that many times shows miraculous results. And since I talked recently to a couple of patients in this situation and I shared with them this information, I did want to share it with everyone here online. Hopefully it will help you think about it in a different perspective. I also just wanted to mention that next week we have Huaishan Retreat, Huaishan Basics, How to Heal Our Own Heart. It's a 3 days weekend retreat, and it will be followed by 7 days Huaishan Teachers Training to learn how to help other people with these methods, which I been practicing and researching for many years and find it very beneficial for myself, but also for helping others. If you look in the links under the video, you can find links to the retreats and also the Huaishan online courses if you are interested in it. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.